back to the Lovin Dubai show. Home Centre are pushing the envelope with content, being the first regional brand to discuss the adoption in this touching footage. To tell us more about the campaign, we're joined by Siddharth Sivaprakash, who is Head of Marketing and Brand at Home Centre, and Pascal Nakle, who is founder and CEO at Penn Consultancy and also a licensed clinical psychologist. Welcome both of you to the show to discuss this very important topic. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having us, Casey.
Thank you, Casey.
For everyone watching, tell us about this journey. Tell us about this video. What are people looking at?
So, The Homecoming, as we're calling it, is really a short film about a journey of falling in love. It's about the ups and downs. It takes you through quite a tumultuous journey that any couple, any family, anybody who's been in love would go through. And it's really about finding a home for people who don't have a home. I think when you watch the film, and I think, spoiler alert here, but hopefully most people have already watched the film. I know you carried it on your platform as well over the weekend. It ties in really well to who we stand for as a brand, which is allowing every home to tell its own unique story. Home Centre as a brand is about homes, it's about families, it's about that construct, it's about home, it's an emotional space. And it's a topic that's really dear to us. It's a topic that hasn't gotten nearly enough awareness of orphan children in the region and around the world, really, and how they deserve a home just like anyone else. So the Homecoming is really about that. The fact that they may not be born your own, but there's no reason why we can't give them a home, a loving home at that.
And it's a beautiful tagline that comes in at the end. And it's really, really touching. And I think at some point for everyone watching, the penny drops that this isn't the, I guess, traditional model of having a child.
That's right.
And you see the mom going into this bedroom and she's meeting her child for the first time. And it's really, truly emotional. So why was it important to tackle this topic? Why was it important to be the first brand in the region to discuss adoption and fostering?
As I mentioned, our sort of North Star, our go-to for Home Centre has always been about facilitating and enabling people to sort of tell their unique stories. And home is such a rich fabric, especially the region that we live in. You know, we have people from so many different cultures, so many different ethnicities. We all sort of have our own way of living our home construct, our family constructs, whether we live as larger families, as more nuclear families. So that's such a rich fabric to sort of have and, as part of our customer base. And there's such unique stories that come out of each home. And that was really what it was about. And here on this one hand, we had some people who didn't have those stories to talk about, and some homes that were not being spoken about at all. And that was really important for us. This sort of journey of talking about people's homes and bringing certain topics to the surface to discuss really started about 2 or 3 years ago when we first did a campaign called The Dad's Job. We'll actually launch the film on Father's Day to be more inclusive to single mothers in the region, because those were homes that were not being spoken about. Nobody ever spoke about single mothers and the sort of dual roles they play. And it was just a nod in their direction saying, we see you as well. And, a phenomenal job that you're doing, especially in the region, because this is never spoken about. And it's similarly with children who don't have a home, who are up for fostering or up for adoption, as it may be, and how people can actually give them and open up their homes and give them a loving home, give them a future, give them a completely new chapter to their lives. And we just felt that was a very important story to talk about.
100%. And of course, to have you here is amazing, because of course we want to talk about what might be the psychological aspects of families looking and, stepping their toes into fostering or adoption for the first time. Yes.
Before I tap into that, I would like to add something to what Siddharth was saying. I think one of the most important things that this campaign was able to do is we see on social media a lot of families and portrayal of families as being perfect. Like, this is how a family should be. So I think this campaign is so important to kind of like break this illusion, because families are not perfect, and families are messy and chaotic and mixed, and sometimes interracial, and sometimes mixed, come from mixed marriages. So I think it's really important to try to understand the definition of a family at a much deeper level, because everything we are seeing on social media tends to just filter what a family is like. So bringing that into light is really important to kind of like break that illusion that people are struggling with, people who don't have families yet, who are not married yet, who are struggling to have kids. They feel like they are not heard and they are not part of this world, when in fact this is what the world is. The world is like this is the reality.
And is that the challenges people might face, that they're going against the norm? Is that something people might struggle with?
Yes, yes.
Or what is perceived as the norm by what they see on social media?
And that puts such high standards for people and unrealistic standards. Like, if I don't have this kind of family, then I didn't accomplish what I should be accomplishing at this age, etc. So my role in this project, and I was so honored to take part in it, is as a clinical psychologist to shed light on the psychological aspect of it and the emotional, psychological stages that parents, adoptive parents, are going through before the adoption, pre-adoption, during the adoption or fostering, and post-adoption.
Are there key challenges that families might face?
Definitely. And the most important thing that we try to shed on is the mixed emotions that they go through, because adoption might not be a first choice to everyone out there. Some people, they know from the start that this is what they want. They want to adopt children and to give children a home. For others, it was never a first choice. For others, those are people who struggled with infertility, and struggling with infertility and the stress of that, or losing a child through pregnancy, or not being able to conceive the traditional way, puts a lot of emotional stress on women specifically, and on their partners. And they go through a lot of mixed emotions, feeling shame sometimes that I wasn't able to provide that to my family, or I'm not good enough to, or my body is failing me. They go through feelings of guilt, being scared, frightened, fear of judgment, excitement. So all these mixed emotions need a safe space to be properly expressed by these families. You need a support system. You need to work through so many steps before welcoming a child into your home, to work with the right people, to have a support system, to work on your home environment. So these are steps that we mentioned in the videos that were recorded that could really be helpful to people going through this phase.
Very interesting, because it may not have been a first choice, but what it is an incredible opportunity for people who may not have the first choice as an option. So that's why this topic is so important. But why do you think, Siddharth, it's been so? Why do you think brands didn't talk about it sooner? Why do you think it's a difficult topic for people to challenge and discuss?
So, I think there are a few misconceptions around the topic of fostering and adoption in the region. There are certain technicalities that differ between fostering and adoption in the region, which we tackle and we're very clear about. So what we actually did as a call to action as part of the film was to lead people to a microsite called thehomecoming.me. It's named after the campaign. And that's really where people who are interested can find out more information about how they can go about it. As Pascal mentioned, she was gracious enough to come on board and support us with this campaign. We've got 3 videos from Pascal on the microsite that talk to anybody who's potentially interested in this about, the pre, the during, and the after in terms of the transition. We've also got a legal advisory that shares knowledge around the technicalities and the legalities around adoption and fostering, whether you're a national in the UAE or in Saudi Arabia or in any of the other GCC countries, or if you're an expatriate, and the do's and don'ts and what you can do. And what we also do is direct people to the official portals of government initiatives or programs that are run across the region, where they can actually find out more information, the documentation. It is a process, but we're just merely here to facilitate and build awareness. Now, as to why it's taken so long for a brand to talk about this, I don't know if I can really comment on that. But as a home brand, as a brand that sort of really is intrinsic to people's homes, outside of just what we sell, but the fact that we really believe in that construct and sentiment of home. For us, it was an important topic, as I mentioned, to talk about, because there were certain stories about certain homes that were just not being spoken about. Mm-hmm. And it's not been so long down the journey for us. This whole approach in terms of our positioning, in terms of reaching out to the communities that we cater to across the region, has really been in the works for about 4 to 5 years. And you can expect a lot more of these topics to be discussed and brought about. And we use our platforms to sort of build awareness around these topics in the region. We're a homegrown brand. We are in the region for the region. So it's definitely something that's part of our agenda for the brand.
It's amazing, and I really would encourage anyone who's interested to check out homecenter.me.
Sorry, it's homecoming.me.
Oh, sorry, homecoming.me. We've connected to Home Center, homecoming.me. Before we go, just any reservations that people might have around the topic of adoption and fostering, like what are they?
There are some that I can mention. People worry about their families. They worry about the judgment that their families are going to start projecting on them. So it's really important for them to keep in mind that this is something very personal that they are doing, and they have the right to choose what kind of family they want to develop and build and grow with. So it's really important for adoptive parents to start considering how to set boundaries with people, how to reach out to family members, to maybe to start with the ones that they trust the most, to tell them about this project. Maybe those can help them bring this forward to other family members. This is something to think about. Another thing that adoptive parents may worry about is if they have children at home, how to introduce that to their kids at home. So it would be very important to tell your children the truth, that we're having a child coming into our home, we're going to take care of that child. This child's going to be part of our family. It's important to be honest, to be upfront, and to also, if you have children at home, to make them feel like they are part of this process, like they have a role in this.
So helpful, so insightful, and I know that even I'm learning from this conversation. But if people want to learn more, if they want to find out more information, how can they do that? Can they ask questions on your platform, or how can they get in touch?
The platform is static as of now. It's not as interactive, but they can always DM us. We can get, as I mentioned, we have we've collaborated with Pascal.
The videos are quite informative, so they can.
The videos are. The microsite does give a lot of information. The authorities on that information really are the other government portals that we lead people to in each country. So they should be able to get enough information on that if they, and sort of direct them in the right way. But yes, if there's any other questions that we can help with, please DM us on any of our social media platforms. As I mentioned, we have access to Pascal, who's come on board with us, and a legal advisory as well. In any way we can help, any information that we can sort of provide or sort of point them in the right direction, that will be definitely something that we would want to do.
It's truly amazing. I mean, it's so great to have this topic discussed on such an open platform. Yeah. So I'm glad that we're able to partner with you guys to help, because I know that families, they don't have a voice, and they're not maybe getting the help and the information they need to move their families along in that way. So it's so great what you're doing in Home Center.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you both for coming in today and following the journey. And we'll leave the link to the website beneath the live so people can check it out for more information.
Thank you.
Thank you both for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us on, Lovin. And I hope this reaches as many people as we can, because again, the objective of this initiative has been to really build a level of awareness and get people talking about it, get people opening their minds to it. I think that really is the first step for us in the journey.
100%. Guys, that is all we have time for. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we're back with you tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Goodbye for me.
Goodbye.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you very much.